All right, so you've got a Ford, and that dreaded check engine light is staring back at you. If the code reader says P0022, don't panic. In this explainer, we're going to walk through how to figure this out step by step, just like a pro would.
Okay, here's our game plan. We're going to break this down logically, starting with the simplest, cheapest checks first. Trust me, following this order can save you a ton of time and, more importantly, a ton of money.
So, first things first, what is your car actually trying to tell you with this code? It's not just a random set of numbers, it's a really specific message about what's going on under the hood.
In plain English, P0022 means the timing for the intake camshaft on bank 2 of your engine is lagging behind. It's over-retarded, which is just a technical way of saying it's too slow. And when your engine's timing is off, you're going to feel it. Poor performance, a rough idle, and you'll definitely notice it at the gas pump.
And don't let that term bank 2 psych you out. It's actually super simple to find. Just locate the number 1 cylinder, usually the one closest to the front of the engine, and bank 2 is literally just the other side, the opposite bank of cylinders. Easy as that.
Now, before you start picturing huge repair bills, let's talk about the number 1 cause of this code. And here's the great news. It is by far the easiest and cheapest thing for you to check.
See, your engine's entire variable timing system runs on oil pressure. It's the lifeblood of the whole operation. So your very first move, always, is a simple 2-part oil check. Pull that dipstick and look at 2 things: the level and the actual condition of the oil.
And I'm not kidding, this is so important. Low oil means low pressure, and old, dirty oil turns into sludge that can clog up all the tiny passages in the system. You would be amazed how many times a simple oil change with the right kind of oil makes this code disappear completely.
All right, so let's say your oil is fresh and topped off, but that pesky light is still on. Okay, now we move on to the actual heart of the system, the variable camshaft timing, or VCT components.
The problem almost always boils down to one of these 2 parts. Think of it this way. The VCT solenoid is the electronic brain. It's a little valve that tells the oil where to go. The VCT phaser is the muscle. It's the actual gear on the camshaft that physically moves to change the timing.
And these parts are such a notorious failure point on Ford engines that, honestly, a lot of mechanics, after they check the oil, they'll just replace the VCT solenoid and phaser together as soon as they see a P0022 code. It's that common.
But hey, before you run out and buy parts, you can do a little detective work yourself. Take a close look at the wiring going to the solenoid. You can even pull the solenoid out and inspect its little filter screens. If you see sludge or metal shavings on there, bingo, you found your smoking gun.
So, what if you've done all that? You've got fresh oil, you even put in a new VCT solenoid, and that check engine light comes right back on. Now what? Well, this usually means it's time to start looking at the electrical side of things.
Right, so the next logical step is to check out the system's eyes and ears, the sensors and wiring that feed all that crucial data back to your car's main computer. Now, while it's a little less common for this specific code, a bad camshaft position sensor is definitely a possibility. This sensor's only job is to tell the computer the exact position of the camshaft. If it's sending garbage signals, the computer can get confused and throw a timing code, even if everything mechanically is perfectly fine.
Okay, so if you've checked the oil, the VCT system, the sensors and wiring, and you are still stuck with that P0022 code, we've pretty much arrived at the final and most complex possibility: a real mechanical timing problem.
This is a well-known issue, especially on higher mileage Fords. Over tens of thousands of miles, the actual metal timing chain can stretch out. When that happens, it creates a real physical delay in the camshaft's timing, and the computer is smart enough to see it and flag it as over-retarded.
And this brings us to a very, very serious point. For pretty much everyone watching, this is where the do-it-yourself diagnosis has to stop.
I really can't stress this enough. Replacing a timing chain is a massive job. It's not a weekend project. You're talking about tearing down a huge part of the engine and using special tools to get everything lined up perfectly. If you get this wrong, you could literally destroy your engine.
So let's just recap that diagnostic funnel. You always start simple at the top. Check your oil. From there, you narrow it down to the most common culprits, the VCT parts. Then you look at sensors and wiring. And only after you've ruled all of that out do you even begin to worry about the timing chain.
You know, when you think about it, this whole high-tech, complex engine system all hinges on something as basic as clean oil. So what's the real lesson here?
It all comes down to this. The absolute best fix is just preventing the problem from ever happening. Being diligent with your oil changes isn't just routine maintenance. It is the single best insurance policy you can have against this problem, and a whole lot of other expensive repairs down the road.